Hey everybody, it's Eric, 80s Horror Man here, and welcome to another Top 10 Tuesday. I know it's been a while since I did a Top 10 Tuesday, but since I have a list that I finally managed to complete, so I'm doing my top 10 Felissa Rose movies because I met her so many times at the ScareCon event. She is such a very nice person. She's like one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life, and we ended up becoming good friends. We're just keeping in contact by like text message, and we're friends on Facebook, and I follow her on Instagram and Twitter as well. So, without further ado, let's get started. First, at number 10 is It Wants Blood. She's only in it for like a couple of scenes, but she's not in it in the whole movie from beginning to the end. This movie mostly has Eric Roberts, former wrestler, WWE Hall of Famer Lita, aka Amy Dumas, and this movie is not really that good of a movie to watch. I mean, the monsters in this movie are just very, very cheesy, and nothing against Eric Roberts. He did a very good job in this one, and I thought Lita did very good as well. But this movie is just not really that good to watch. I know they have a second one to this movie coming out with Eric Roberts in it as well, but I probably might end up checking that out and see how that is. But nothing against Felissa Rose. I mean, she does good in the movies that she always does, and like I said, she just didn't have much of a big role in this one. Next, at number 9 is Demented. This movie is actually not bad. This one was actually interesting. In this one, Felissa Rose, she plays a detective. Also in this one, you have Aria Levin, who played the very first Jason in the original Friday 13th. And you also have former wrestler, WWE Hall of Famer Bret the Hitman Hart in this one as well. Uh, this movie is basically about where this guy goes around kidnapping women and just keeps them at his little hideout for a couple days and just tortures the hell out of them. So, Demented, this was actually not really too bad. It was interesting. I thought Felissa Rose did a very good job playing a cop in this movie. Next, at number 8, is A Nun's Curse. She ends up playing like a possessed nun known as Sister Monday, where a group of friends had to explore the old insane asylum where Sister Monday was like accused of making the prisoners just disappear without, well, not like disappear, but killing off the prisoners like one at a time. But then all of a sudden she just disappears. Here's it. So, well, this movie was actually not bad. This was actually a very fun movie to watch. I thought Felicity Rose did a very good job playing like a possessed demon nun known as Sister Monday. So, A Nun's Curse, definitely recommend checking it out. Next is Death House. This movie is like the Expendables version of where you got like a whole bunch of recognizable horror icons and horror recognizable names in this movie as well, like Kane Hodder, Bill Moseley, Sid Haig, Gunnar Hansen, Felicity Rose, Tiffany Shepard, you name it. There's just a whole bunch of recognizable horror icons and recognizable horror names in this movie because this is like the Expendables version of this movie. So Death House, very fun movie. I definitely recommend checking it out. But yeah, as you can tell, I got that signed by Felissa Rose as well. She put to Eric, they're all crazy. Next is another movie I decided to get. This was like a horror pack edition, number 61. This is my first movie I actually own from a horror pack, and that's Scream Test. Now, Felissa Rose, her character, she plays an actress, and after she did some damage to her vocal cords when she was working on a movie from screaming too much, they decided to send her for a little R&R for her to relax and recover. But then somehow there's a killer going around just copying scenes from a certain movie of hers, just going around picking them off one at a time. So this is like a whodunit kind of thing, and you don't know who the killer is. And Felissa, I thought she did a very good job at like where she's not like speaking in her normal voice. She's speaking in a low voice, like when someone says, "I think it's her that did it," and she looks and she goes, then she ends up writing on a little notepad so people can understand what she's saying and what she's talking about. So this is like a whodunit kind of movie. So Scream Test. This was actually a very fun movie to watch. This was actually not bad. Next at number 5 is Return to Sleepaway Camp. But yes, Felissa Rose does have a small part in it, but if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't seen this movie, I definitely recommend checking it out. Again, this is like a whodunit kind of thing because you don't know who's going around killing off the counselors and the kids. So, Return to Sleepaway Camp, I definitely recommend checking this movie out. Next is No Solicitors. This movie I definitely end up liking because Felissa recommended for me to go watch this movie at the Scare Convent when they were playing this back in 2015. So I checked it out and I liked it. She asked me what I thought of it. I said it was a little sick, but I told her I ended up liking it. This movie also has Eric Roberts and Beverly Randolph in it. But yeah, as you can tell, I got that signed by Felissa Rose where she put Ding Dong. Yeah, because this movie is basically about where people show up at the door and the sign says no solicitors, but apparently bad things happen to them. So, no solicitors. I definitely recommend checking out this movie if you have not seen this one. Next is Camp Dread. This movie also has Eric Robertson and Danielle Harris in it, and Felissa Rose is in this one too. About where a washed-up movie director is trying to do a reboot to one of his movies, but turns out there's a killer going around picking off these people one at a time at a camp. But Danielle Harris, she plays a sheriff, and Felissa Rose, she plays like one of the uh, people in charge of the camp and everything. And this movie was actually not bad. Again, this movie is like a whodunit kind of thing, so I end up liking this one. This was actually very fun to watch. I definitely recommend checking out Camp Dread if you haven't seen it. Next is Victor Crowley, aka Hatchet 4. This movie is just excellent. I just love this movie, and all the Hatchet movies are pretty good. There's some very unique kills, a lot of gore, but this movie is just so much fun to watch. I definitely recommend it. Checking out this one because not only you have Kate Harder back in this one playing Victor Crowley and Perry Shen back in this one as well, but you also have Felissa Rose in it, Tiffany Shepis, Dave Sheridan. So basically, this is about where a plane crashes into a swamp, then all of a sudden, Victor Crowley just comes back from the dead and starts terrorizing the what's left of the survivors on the plane crash. And if you haven't seen this movie, I definitely recommend checking it out because what happens to Felissa in this movie, wow, just brutal. So if you haven't seen this, go check it out. But if you have seen this, you know what I'm talking about. And finally, at number 1, of course, everyone should know that she's mostly recognizable and very familiar of doing this movie, Sleepaway Camp. This is the one that started all. This is a movie that she's definitely known for doing the most. She was only 13 years old when she did this movie. About where, after a boating accident, her and her cousin Ricky are sent to Camp Arawak, but as soon as they get there, there's a killer going around picking off counselors and kids. So this is like a whodunit kind of thing. And this movie still stands the test of time, like the bullying, the transgender, and everything. But I definitely highly recommend checking out this movie because this is a very recognizable classic slasher 80s horror movie. I definitely recommend checking out this movie because this is a movie that started Felissa's career in the first place. And yes, I got that signed by her where she put the to Eric, I love and adore you. But as you saw my Victor Crowley, she signed that one too where she put to Eric, stay out of the swamp. So Sleepaway Camp, that's my number one choice right there. Alright, guys, so that's it for my top 10 Tuesday for my top 10 Felissa Rose movies. What you guys think? Did you like any of the movies that was in this list? If so, please let me know in the comments down below. If there's any movies you think I should check out of hers that I have not seen, please let me know in the comments. I'd like to hear your thoughts. Also, like and subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for some more videos. Later.